Hello audience, this is a 1931 Ford Model A station wagon, better known as a Woodie. Now you may remember a few videos back when we dropped off the two-door sedan, we brought this home. It's owned by the same person, and our plan was to repaint the front of it. Now, I was considering making videos about that, but I was working on other stuff at the time, and really, it's not anything we haven't already covered. It's a restored car that we just took down to the bare metal and repainted, which was just this section here. But since it's here, we're going to take a closer look at it anyway, because it is a fairly interesting and somewhat unique Model A, or just car in general for that matter. Ford introduced these during the 1929 model year with a version similar to this, but obviously on a 1929 platform. And the body was dimensionally a little different from this, but the same basic theme, and that was built through May of 1930 when it was replaced with this, which was built through the end of Model A production. Now the idea of this body type was nothing new at the time. Aftermarket coach builders have been building these throughout the 20s. They're calling them station wagons or depot hacks, among other things, and they all had the same kind of basic theme. They had a high seating capacity and or high luggage capacity, usually finished in natural wood, usually because they're made out of wood, and had kind of an open outdoors theme to them. And their original intended function was to be used by hotels and resorts to carry guests and supplies to and from the local train station, hence the name. Now, these were fairly popular throughout that decade, but they were all aftermarket bodies built to be used on existing cars. Now, sometime around 1928 or 29, Ford decided to build their own factory version of it. Now, this car still has the original wood, which it is showing some age here and there, but for over 90 years old, it's actually not that bad. This car was probably taken care of pretty well its entire life. Now the paint is matched to the original Manila brown, which was the standard and only color available on the station wagons. Now the previous paint job was okay, but it was faded in some areas and had been touched up and just overall looked kind of tired, and the owner wanted it to look brand new. So we repainted it all. Now, unlike most Model A's, these never had a trim color or a stripe color, and never had a separate interior molding color. All of it was the same Manila brown. Now, one myth that I've heard a few times over the years is that these are the heaviest Model A bodies built, because they're made out of wood, and they're dimensionally even bigger than the four-door sedan. Well, they are dimensionally bigger, and they are made out of wood, but if you look at the way they're constructed, the doors and the side panels, they just have a wood frame around them, and a piece of plywood in the middle, and that is the same sheet of plywood you see on the inside. There's no trim panel. There's no sheet metal around it, and one of the heaviest materials used in car bodies is glass, which it has none of that. It has no window regulators or anything. So the panels on this are actually pretty light. So driving it is kind of like driving a Phaeton with the top up. Another big thing is, since there's no glass and the posts are really skinny, any air that goes in here goes right out the back. So it's actually more aerodynamic than it looks. Even though the body is made out of wood, it's mostly held together with bolts and steel braces. And as you can see, they're all painted body color, which is appropriate for 1931. They were all still in pretty good shape, so we left them alone. One little detail I thought was interesting is on the 1929 bodies, this piece of wood is just a flat square piece of wood, because there was really no other reason to make it any other way. On the 3031s, they all have this belt molding, which typically runs around the entire body. So they redesigned this so that the shape of it matches the belt molding, and they run this around the entire body. And it's a little subtle detail that ties the two designs together without really compromising either one. And I thought that was pretty clever. The 1929 bodies had a sun visor, but these didn't. So obviously, when painting it, it's important to detail the header really well. But another thing we didn't think about until we had to do it is the windshield wiper motor is also really visible. So we actually took the time to carefully remove the paint and then repaint it in a dull kind of satin black like it would have been originally. It's built with 3 rows of seats with a seating capacity of 8. Now the center and rear seats are held in with latches and can be removed to repurpose the back of it for cargo. The seats are adequate. Not exactly the last word on comfort, but it's a Model A. What do you expect? Another neat thing is if no one is using the middle seats, you can remove them, and then the backseat passengers have all the legroom they want. I think I'll try that. Yep, that makes a massive difference. Unlike the pickup truck, the tailgate on these actually has latches. The tailgate also has these steel slats, so it can be used as a luggage rack when folded down. And now let's take it out and drive it. I mean, I kind of have to anyway, because I got to get some fuel for it before we drive it back. Well, it still runs and drives. We filled the tank, and we're probably going to drive it back to its home in the next couple of days or so. But anyway, that's it for now. I hope you found this entertaining, and we'll see you next time.